Thanks, Anshu. She's been doggedly, tracking all these developments on the steel sector. But moving on, the Minister Narendra Singh Tomar, in an exclusive interview to CNBCTV18, says that the government's move to introduce MIP will protect and benefit the Indian steel companies. The industry too welcomes the move. JSPL says that they are pleased that the government has taken such a bold initiative.
इस्पात उद्योग काफी तनाव में था और हमारे घरेलू इंडस्ट्री काफी नुकसान में जा रहे थे। ऐसी स्थिति में भारत सरकार की प्राथमिकता थी कि घरेलू इंडस्ट्री को हम सुरक्षा दें और इसलिए इससे पहले भी क्वालिटी ऑर्डर, इंपोर्ट प्राइस, सेफगार्ड जैसी कोशिशें भी हुई, लेकिन वो नाकाफी थी और इसलिए भारत सरकार ने यह निर्णय किया है कि मिनिमम इंपोर्ट प्राइस निर्धारित की जाए, जिससे हमारी घरेलू इंडस्ट्री को सुरक्षा मिल सके। सरकार ने एक कदम उठाया है और मुझे लगता है ये कदम फायदेमंद होगा और घरेलू इंडस्ट्री ठीक स्थिति में आएगी।
Well, I think this step was definitely welcome. It was long overdue. The Indian steel industry has gone through a very traumatizing time, and I think I'm pleased that the government has taken such a bold initiative, which was absolutely imperative for the survival of the steel industry. Prima facie, is definitely better than when we had nothing with us. So it will definitely act as some amount of deterrent in preventing the unabated flow of the goods which are practicing predatory pricing.
Okay, Nigel, what does all this mean for the listed players?
Rima, the stock that will react the best today has to be JSW Steel. That's the biggest beneficiary. I was just going through a CLSA note as well. And they say that you'd rather play this move via JSW Steel rather than Tata Steel. Now, let's give you some details. This is a big positive, yes, that's coming in for the ferrous space. To give you a few numbers, the current HRC price on Chinese steel is at around $300 per ton. That's the CIF price. Now, the landed imported price, that's taking into account the duties as well as some kind of transportation cost, currently comes to roughly around $400 per ton, which is exactly the same rate that domestic steel prices are hovering. So currently the imported price as well as domestic price, there's a very small $10 to around $15 difference that is there. Now looking at this particular graphic plate, they have imposed MIP at around $450 per ton. That's why you can assume that it was 400 and now in fact it's at around 450. So you can assume a $40 to $50 up move per ton. That's almost a given. That should be the base case scenario, in fact, $40 to $50. The actual price, though, of importing steel will be far higher because it won't be $450 per ton. It will be $450 per ton plus these import duties as well as taxes. So import steel could now cost $590 to around $600 per ton. That's because you have $450 as your import duty. If $450 as your MIP price, then you have your import duty that will be imposed. That will be around 12.5%. That's the customs duty. And also you have 20% as your safeguard duty. So put that together, $450 plus $140 per ton. Your total cost of importing steel will be around $590 to around $600. However, the sheet is not assuming that the prices go from 400 to around 600. They're being more realistic. They're saying it can go to around 450 to around $460 per ton. There should be and it should be a maximum of around $60 per ton because the user industry otherwise will be absolutely finished. You can't have a 50% increase in steel prices. Now, the 200-day safeguard duty that was imposed on flat steel, that's HRC, that expires in March 2016. So that's an added reason because then you only have $450 plus the 12.5% or the 10%. You don't have the additional 20% because that 20% safeguard duty will expire just in the next 45 days approximately. Now, a $50 increase in your realization could flow straight to your EBITDA. The last quarter's EBITDA numbers for both JSW Steel as well as Tata Steel should come up for you. That could mean that in fact if the $50 increase comes in the realization which flows to your EBITDA, it could result in a doubling of EBITDA for JSW Steel. So quarter three EBITDA number should be up for you on the screen. That in fact was at around $55 per ton, while for Tata Steel it was at around $100 per ton. So if that $50 moves through, then Tata Steel's EBITDA, domestic EBITDA can increase by 50%. JSW Steel's EBITDA can close to a double. For long products as well, there'll be some benefit because they never had the safeguard duty in the first place. So that's an additional kicker coming in from there. However, this MIP as well as import duty, etc., is not applicable on scrap. So you can import scrap and then you can make it into long steel. That could be a bit something that doesn't go down too well with the street.
Okay, so domestic steel prices could go up by 10 to 15% to $450 to $460 per ton, and the biggest beneficiary could be JSW Steel. But shifting focus, the